Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you had a great week. The last 2 weeks have been busy in the market watching category, and we know that this is not the day for that video. That one will come back on Monday, so please check back to see how this week followed the pretty crazy return of volatility that we saw the week prior. Today is August 16th, 2024, and this is your Friday planning video. To completely ignore the last 2 weeks would not be prudent, even on this video, so I wanted today to talk about some planning for unstable or volatile markets. Before we start, since I will mention some tax strategies, also, I want to remind you that I do not give personal tax advice, but this is a perfect conversation to connect me with your tax or legal advisor. We can work together, all of us, to be sure that everything that can be done in these events is done. Don't get me wrong, I'm not changing my stripes. Same story, long-term planning. That's the focus. But remember the process. Make a plan, execute the plan, evaluate the plan, make necessary changes to the plan, rinse, repeat. And there are often life events in that plan that we need to keep in mind, and often market events will trigger some of those planning events. So let's talk about them. First, the key is to keep your head about you. Most of the time, there's nothing to worry about and nothing that needs to be done immediately. It just depends on if you are planning for certain events. Someone asked me last week if these markets drove me crazy. My answer has always been the same. First 30 years, next month 31 years of doing this, and this is not a surprise occurrence. On average, markets have a 10% downturn per year, and 5% moves per year. Recall that a few weeks ago, up until a few weeks ago, the S&P 500 had gone 300 plus days without a 2% move. So again, this should not be a surprise to us. Second, and the point of today's video, the key is getting through this is to have a plan. Be confident in your portfolio. Make sure you know how your portfolio is set per your risk, and take advantage of opportunities where it makes sense. The reason these events don't and should not cause a panic is because you have a plan. And that plan is a day-to-day plan and a market trigger plan. Few items for your planning. First, and we talk about this a lot, diversify your portfolio. There have been a few big winners in the past years and even longer for some. That is always great, a real wealth builder, but it also elevates your risk exponentially. You know who you are. You have that big winner in your account and you don't want to sell, no matter what. All is well, and it is now 10 to 20% of your investment wealth. That is the one you talk about at parties and you do your victory dance about. This is the one that you would put on your license plate since it helped you pay for the car. At 10 to 20% of your account, what would happen if it hit an air pocket and went down? Are you okay if 20% of your investment wealth goes down 20 to 40%? This is just something to think about. Wealth is often built on the backs of some of these holdings, but risk should be considered as well. Enough about that. If you have large positions of winners and want to discuss ways to diversify properly, please call me. Other diversification methods we'll talk about, just be sure you have various asset classes represented. Yes, stocks, bonds, cash, real estate, alternative investments. It is not often that all of these asset classes move in the same direction. So assuming you have a diversified investment plan, chances are you will have something that goes up if other things are going down, and vice versa. Unless you think you can stay ahead of that and always know what's going to be going up next, which is not easy, a diversified portfolio may be the way to go. Next, rebalance regularly. This is related to that overweight stock story, but on a grander scale. Think of it this way. If your asset allocation, how you diversify, is say 60-40 stocks to bonds. That's simple. If the stock market as a whole goes up, chances are that 60% of your account goes up in some way, and say the stock market, as is prone to do, has a few great years, it's not unrealistic to say that your 60% in stock is now 80% in stock. For illustration purposes, I am going to use outsized moves. Then you are now 80% in stock and 20% in bonds. Then if the stock market, as it is also prone to do, has a few bad years and is down 30%, now 80% of your account went down with the stocks, 30% or so, not the 60% that you had before. The way you stay in line with your original allocation and thus original risk level, rebalance regularly. This also allows you to do what we always try to do. That's sell high and buy low. So if you're at 80-20 and you want to be at 60-40, you'd sell some of your stock, the 80%, the asset that's gone up so much, high, and buy that 20% in bonds, the asset class that had not gone up as much, low. Again, sell high, buy low. This is rebalancing. Next, stay informed and flexible. This is pretty clear. Just know what's going on and stay in touch with me or whomever you want to talk to. Opportunities and strategies that can change, maybe do. Now, this one you hear a lot. Focus on the long-term strategy. And as I like to say, every now and then I get that dream call. That is, how am I doing versus the goals that we've set? That is what we can focus on. This will usually allow us to separate the message from the noise, and that is the key when things get volatile. There will be a lot of noise, and if you stay focused on the long term, you'll be better suited to make the good decisions. Finally, for today, maintain an emergency fund. This is what we talk about a lot for all modes of the planning process. This is not only for real financial emergencies, and I will direct you to my blog section of my website. A new blog just went up about being ready for emergencies, but also having a fund ready to buy the bargains if you can identify them. This tends to happen, and these days it happens quickly. So if you have some investment funds that you're ready to invest, but you want to wait for that opportunity, these days, high yield savings accounts are earning a respectable 5% in most cases for now, and that's okay place to wait at this time. So these are a few tips of how to get through the volatile times in the markets. Next week, I'll talk about some retirement and other investment strategies that you can use in volatile markets for certain triggers. So come back then. Also, be sure to check out the new blog. As I mentioned, the Monday market update's coming, and there's some upcoming special videos as well on special market events that we need to watch. Stay in touch and have a great weekend.